My Dan that I was flying with today, Siri came up on his iPad just as we were on short final. It was like, that's not helpful now.
So annoying.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, people, this man here that you can see on your screen right now basically lost his mind at his device just now.
I was smart speaker.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous about bringing the faders up, frankly, because they were he was being a little bit animated.
Well, the one in the kitchen, which Matt knows all well.
Yes.
Kitchen on the windowsill. It upset me so much a while back. I think I told you, Matt. I unplugged it and threw it in the bowl of
put it in the bowl of soapy water. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, myself and
therapy.
Yeah, I can say myself and his delightful wife have both had discussions about therapy to try and help Carlos with his anger management issues.
Did it then add washing up liquid to your Amazon?
Probably.
Basket?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The funny thing is, right, and this goes to show you how blinking hardy them things are. I pulled it out after leaving it in there to soak for a bit, and stuck it in the airing cupboards on some towels, and guess what? It worked the next day.
That's
good quality equipment.
Yeah.
Well, no, it just proves a point. If you abuse it, it will work properly.
Right. Okay. Fair enough then.
They're just honestly, they are. I mean, Matt knows the issues I have when I ask it to play Park Radio Dis.
Yes.
It plays Heart Norfolk because they sound so similar.
With your Norfolk accent, they probably do. That's the problem. Because I say it to mine.
Same,
and I'll say it to mine now. Hang on, Alexa, play Park Radio Dis.
Oh, my one in the bedroom's now. You're my one in the bedroom just heard you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hold on. Alexa,
yeah, there she goes.
Alexa, stop.
Hey, I was staying at my mum's yesterday, and she had BBC Look East on.
Oh yes, very good.
And there was a story about Beccles on there. I was like, I know somebody that lives near there.
I'm a bit confused as to why. Hang on. Oh no, because I was panicking then for a minute. It's not 7 o'clock yet, is it? That's why I was thinking. Hang on a minute. It should be John Rogers. Why is it playing a T-Rex track? Sorry, went into panic radio mode then.
Jolly Rogers.
Indeed, bless him. Right, okay.
I'm sure we'll get a text from Nev reminding us.
Oh yeah, no, I have no doubt. Yeah,
Supposedly not in the chat room, actually.
I've popped the clock up. Well, I think he might be quite pooped from his day, to be fair. Right, so I need to reset that. 5:07, is that right? Are we on 5:07?
That is correct.
We are indeed.
Phew. I loaded the right clock.
Well, it's been rather nice today, weather-wise.
I know.
Just for an absolute change.
Absolutely dreading now having to turn my fan off.
Yeah, it was 24 degrees this afternoon when I was driving home.
APG show even. Hello everybody, I'm driving the RV presently in Iowa.
Iowa.
Nice. Love that.
Very nice.
Oh, also nice here in Belgium, says John. They're all about.
Oh, they're all having fun, aren't they?
Oh, do you know I haven't seen any pictures of the RV yet? Has anybody seen any pictures of the RV?
It is very nice.
I bet it is.
Very nice.
I mean, it needs to be. He had to wait. I mean, he ordered it when God was a boy. To be fair,
I remember. Do you remember when I went over to the US and I done Stephen Ivy's wedding? He'd ordered it then.
Oh no, I know, and that's like I know. As I say, waited a very, very long time for it. Anyway,
very, very long time.
It was like 18 months ago, wasn't it?
15 seconds to clock. Just FYI. We
They
know how we like to start on time. Otherwise, Nev gets very angry.
I think they had enough time to put marble on the floor. I think.
I should hope so. Absolutely. Well, I mean, nothing but the best for Captain Jeff, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, the dog seems to be going.
Alfie's
it's like he knew we were about to start, and he started going bananas.
That's why
you want to move the studio, isn't it? You wanted away. You wanted away from the dog.
He's stealing all the
Here we go.
all the limelight.
Here we go.
Oh,
Good
dear.
luck, everyone. Godspeed.
Here we go.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 507 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I am Carlos, and in this week's show we have double-decker seating, a Ryanair redirection, an Atlas anomaly, and a Things Get SCORCHIO in Athens. In the military news this week we have swanky Saab and a update on RIAT. So joining me this week, and I'm going to read exactly what's written here in the show notes.
Oh, no.
The funny one, the handsome one, and the one with the good beard. But we can leave our lovely viewers on YouTube to decide who is who.
Right, so Nick's the one with the good beard.
You're trying to dig yourself out now.
Oh,
Excellent.
controversy.
Oh, it's beard envy.
Absolutely. Unexpected.
I was clean shaven this morning.
Were you? Oh, here we go.
I think if we went for prize-winning total coverage,
Right.
Andy would probably pick
Yeah,
him to the post.
for volume.
But to be fair, that statement could literally, all of those could literally apply to Andy. So just like literally, like which one do we choose? You can only have one of them. Which one do you want, Andy? You can pick first.
Well, I'm going to take the beard because my beard is the best out of this.
Fair enough.
Damn it!
Yeah. You've been hoisted by your own petard, Nick.
I literally have.
Welcome to the Plain Talking Beard Show.
Yeah, lovely. Absolutely. Carlos is only jealous because he's the only one in the group here who can't actually grow a beard. He did try once. It was the patchiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was utterly hilarious.
Oh, I know. It was even funny when I shaved the whole lot off and left the mist.
Oh no!
Oh my goodness, that must have been appalling.
I can say there's something. You're a very handsome man, Carlos, but with a moustache, I do think like you wouldn't be allowed to go near schools. That's all I'm saying.
It didn't look good. That's all I'm going to say.
Quite.
Anyway, Matt, hello. How are you?
Are we off topic slightly? Yes. Hello. Huzzah!
Anyway, Matt, I haven't heard from you all week. What have you been up to? I've not been taxi for you this week. So
No. Lots of things going on outside of like sort of radio and podcasting and things. I've got an MRI on Sunday, which I'm very excited about. So hopefully we can get to the bottom of the things that mean that, which is why I can barely walk. So hopefully that'll be good news. As you'll be having to keep the kettle warm then, Carlos. If they put me right, I should be over every lunchtime again, like I used to be. Indeed, but
more to the point, you went away actually.
I did.
Week. Did you have a nice time?
Yeah, I did actually. It was Mama Smith's birthday, and I think I'm allowed to say it. She said it enough this week. Yeah, 21st plus VAT and then some. So it was a 7 birthday, and we went to a lovely little house in Holt where my weekend was spent basically catering for 35 people all weekend. But that was fun. I did breakfast every morning and then also Sunday roast. And then we had a barbecue. And all that kind of thing. So yeah, really, really nice, really, really good fun.
Oh, good.
You're also available for weddings and bar mitzvahs, yeah?
No, I'm absolutely not. No, I can't. No, it's just like we had a proper paella with rabbit and everything as well. It was really nice on the Friday night. It was super, super, super. So yeah, so Mum did the catering on the Friday night, as I say, and then I was on breakfast duties, and then a Sunday roast, and then Saturday during the day we were all out. So yeah, really, really lovely time. Mum loved absolutely every single second of it. She was literally grinning from ear to to here all weekend, having all her family around her, as I say, because it was all close family that had all flown in from literally all around the world. We had Keith, who loyal people from the podcast may remember, we actually had Keith Shergold on many, many, many years ago, because he flew. What was it he flew? Was it not? It was the little baby otter, wasn't it? Something like
the
that.
twin otter.
Oh, the twin otter. That's the
Yeah.
one. Yeah, absolutely.
Baby Otter's way cuter. I love it.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So he did. Him and the gorgeous Jackie, his other half, came as well. We had the Irish contingent come in as well. So I was sat there on both Friday and Saturday night. Andy, you'll be very proud of me here, drinking some of the finest whiskey I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh, good lad.
Absolutely. It's something called Green. Is it Green Man? Something like that. Anyway, I'll see if I can find out before the end of the show. I think it was something like Green something, but genuinely one of the smoothest, most delicious whiskies I've ever had in my life. And I had a great weekend drinking it all.
That's good.
Absolutely.
And you managed to get back, which is the main thing.
Yes. Stop drinking Sunday morning. Yes, I'm good like that. Finally safe to drive home on the Monday.
All I'm going to say is it'll be nice to have you back on the radio Sunday.
Okay, lovely.
Anyway, more on that. So, Andy, good to have you back with us. You've been away for a few weeks, but you have been rather a busy boy, haven't you?
Yes, it's been I've missed 3 shows. So what have I done since then? I did my mad 100-kilometre walk with my wife, which took us a very long time. I think it was 22 hours, 40 minutes from start to finish, all through the night, in mud and all sorts. Would I do it again? No. Never again.
Never
But
again.
It was all for a good cause. And then I've been doing a bit of flying. I've been in the sim a lot. I've been spending a lot of time in the office. So yeah, I've been here, there, and everywhere. It's nice to be back, though.
Oh, good. Well, we have missed you. I think we had a couple of shows, didn't we, Nick, where we had some Airbus heavy stories, and we were kind of going, we need Andy. Andy.
Yeah, it's always good to have Andy on for those. So good to have you back, mate.
I mean, I couldn't give a monkeys about the stories. I've missed all the jokes. I'm not gonna lie.
I just come along to chat about food for 10 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that's normally what we do, isn't it?
Food and beer.
Yeah,
food
that
and
is.
beer.
Yeah.
Hello, Nick. How are you this week?
Yeah, I'm good. It's only Wednesday, and yet it's been a very, very busy week for me. In the last 24 hours, I randomly saw Nev's car, and today I went flying in an actual aeroplane.
I think we need more context on the seeing Nev's car thing, because you didn't. This is the slightly scary. I'm going to tell the story because you won't. He basically saw Nev's car in a car park because he'd been to visit his mum. Saw Nev's car in a car park. Didn't go and see Nev. Just took a photograph of the car and then off he went.
And shared it on our
little group
chat.
Absolutely, yeah. As if that, just to ensure that Nev felt fear for his own life, essentially.
Yeah, so that Nev found it super creepy that I happened to see his car randomly while driving through a Buckinghamshire town.
Indeed. Not go and see him in McDonald's, which is where he was spoiling Mrs. Nev.
Had I known that he was in there, I would undoubtedly have gone in. And,
right.
Okay. So
fair enough.
But it was just a bit ironic that obviously some regular listeners of the show might know that Nev has quite a striking vehicle.
I mean, it does stand out amongst from the crowd. There's no doubt.
So
we call it the banana for a very good reason.
Indeed, absolutely.
But today I've had a lovely little trip out in a Cirrus. Nice flight across the Devon countryside. Flew along the coast and then back across Dartmoor, which was fantastic.
And how did that come about?
So it's somebody I used to work for. Mm-hmm. I did some work for him, and he said, "Would you like me to pay you with cash money?" And I said, "No, you can take me in your aeroplane, please."
Nice.
And he came good, and so we had a great little flight today, and had a little bit of time at the on the Cirrus side stick. So it was great.
That is awesome.
I might start offering my utility companies the opportunity to come fly with me instead of paying the bill.
Yeah, let us know how you get on with that.
Oh dear. I'm going to offer mine cake, see if they take that option. But anyway, probably not.
No, because you're a terrible cook. If your wife cooks, you might be in a laugh.
Well, yeah, that'd be fine.
Your idea of a decent meal is a ding dinner. That frightens me.
On a Wednesday. On a Wednesday, yes. On a Wednesday. Healthy the rest of the week.
Okay, fair enough.
Right, we are going to say hello to everyone in the chat room. Let's go at the top of the list this week. First, and there was Nick. Well done, Nick. Richard Adams, hello to you. Mazoos, our local listener, Mazoos. Hobby Time. We've got Alan White. Hello to you, Alan. Great to see you in there. I've got a video coming up later, actually, with you in.
Don't threaten him like that.
Dirk S. Hello to you, Dirk. Richard E. Flagg. Hello to you.
Hello, Richard.
Awesome pictures on his website, as always. John Falk, hello to you. APG Show, I think that's Captain Jeff in his RV. He's cruising round the mean streets of the US of A. We've got Master of None. We've got Masha. Hello, Masha. Hope you are well. Thanks for joining us. Sturman. Garth is there. Hello to you. And yes, hello to everyone who's joined us tonight for the show. Good to see you in there. Don't forget, if you are listening to us on the audio show and want to see how gorgeous Andy's beard is, make sure you check us out on YouTube every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, where we are live
Can I just draw attention to Alan White's comment in the chat room there saying, Nev and McDonald's, two names that I would never thought I would hear in the same sentence.
A good point, well made.
Yeah. Which, and in fairness to Nev, ironically, the McDonald's was adjacent to a Marks and Spencer's, which I
he'd probably be more likely. Yeah, absolutely.
Much more in keeping with
absolutely, indeed. Perhaps that's where he was.
Which was next door to Waitrose, which was next to Sainsbury's. Yeah.
Well, quite.
Anyway, other supermarkets are very much available. We've got loads to get through this week, including our retro airline ad of the week, which is quite eye-opening this week, I will say. So we've got some commercial news to get through. So if the team is ready,
yep,
let's go.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
So this week's first story comes from aerotime.aero, and this is something that I definitely could have done with yesterday when I left off work at 5 o'clock. Archer's Midnight eVTOL aircraft completes first ever transition flight. Archer Aviation's electric vehicle takeoff and landing aircraft Midnight has completed its first ever transition flight, successfully moving from a vertical takeoff to wing-borne flight. The flight was conducted at Archer's test facility in Salinas, California, on June 8th, where Midnight reached speeds of over 100 miles an hour before landing safely. Although the first flight represents Midnight's first airborne transition, Archer initially achieved the feat using its smaller full-scale eVTOL aircraft Maker back in November 2022. Transitioning two generations of full-scale eVTOL aircraft in less than 2 years is another remarkable achievement for the Archer's team. This shows, they said, that we continue to successfully execute against our plan to create the most efficient path to market with an aircraft that's designed for certification and to be manufactured efficiently at scale, said Adam Goldstein, Archer's founder and CEO. In a statement on June the 12th, Archer said that Midnight is thought to be among one of the largest eVTOLs to complete transition, which it said is critical to being able to carry commercially viable passenger payloads. Only 7 months ago, Archer announced that Midnight had successfully completed its first Archer and has already established important relationships with the United Airlines and United States Air Force, which have both agreed to purchase the Midnight aircraft. Successfully completing the transition from hover to wing-borne flight with a full-scale eVTOL aircraft is tremendous engineering feat that only a handful of companies in the world have achieved, Dr. Jeff Bauer, Archer's chief engineer, said. Over 7 eVTOL aircraft I've built and flown in my career, he said, they've gotten progressively larger, and as we pursue payloads that have made the aircraft platform commercially viable. A transition flight occurs when the aircraft takes off vertically like a helicopter and accelerates forward, transitions from thrust-borne to wing-borne flight like an airplane, with tilt propellers forward before decelerating and landing vertically. So it's basically a very small version of a V-22 Osprey, which Armando would know all too well, as he used to fly one. But honestly, this is I love this. This is such a good idea, especially for bypassing hordes of traffic.
Yeah. Been a bit of a challenge this week getting to work, hasn't it?
But no, it's a great idea. Obviously, they've got this thing flying now. I'm going to have to look at the videos and see if I can see the video for this. But
does anybody know how big they intend to make this and how many passengers it can carry?
I don't know, but I'm sure.
I mean, judging by the photo, it looks like it's going to be at least a 4-seater, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I feel like if they're going to be doing sort of transit from a sort of a big urban centre to a hub airport, they want to make it probably like 10 or 12 maybe to make it worth a while.
Especially if people like United Airlines have agreed to purchase it. I'd expect the final version to have a lot more seats to make it viable for them.
Because I'm sort of seeing this as being almost like a replacement for having a limousine service. So you take your top end Mr. Bounds type customers and whisk them from their kind of, city office right the way to the terminal and sort of avoid all the traffic and all that malarkey.
I guess the downside comes if it gets stuck in either vertical takeoff configuration or conventional aircraft configuration. Hopefully they must have some form of system to look after that.
The one on their website shows it having 2 seats up the front with 2 passengers in the back and then a cargo space at the rear. It does say that it can do back-to-back flights of between 20 and 50 miles with minimal charge time in between flights.
Okay.
But it can reach speeds apparently of up to 150 miles per hour.
Looks a bit niche to me, but I guess it would have to be for, like you say, having all these powerful business people transported around in it.
But it's powered by 6 independent proprietary battery packs, each supporting a pair of the custom electric engines.
It does sort of beg the question, doesn't it, of how is this better than a helicopter?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm not really getting.
Is it just because it's
moment.
battery powered? Is that what everybody's getting excited about, possibly?
Well, there have been a few of these types of vehicles in development, and we've seen a number of airlines. I think Emirates might have tied up with one and doing sort of technology partnerships to try and help fund the development, I guess. But I am struggling a little bit to see what the kind of use case is.
Forgive my naivety on this, okay, but is there a viable reason as to why they haven't attempted to make a battery operated helicopter that flies people? I mean, obviously Carlos has got his little battery operated helicopter, which you do need a flying degree on to actually be able to pilot. The thing is nuts. But, I mean, is there a reason why they haven't sort of investigated battery-operated helicopters over the drone thing?
Probably the size of the size and the weight of the batteries are limiting for something big that's going to carry a lot of people. I mean, it does say on their website as well that the Archer Midnight is, according to their website, they claim it's 100 times quieter than a standard helicopter.
Yeah. Is it easier to put power through several smaller propellers than one huge one? Which is what you'd have with a helicopter.
It would potentially be lighter, I would imagine, and the complexity and cost of that propulsion would probably be significantly reduced as well.
I might reach out to the guys and get them on the show. What do you think?
Just find out more info as well. Yeah, just get some more info from them. Yeah.
That's something to actually stick in the memory banks for next time we do, for hopefully next time we do the drone summit thing, actually, because it's just like, why was it that this is the route? As you say, there must be an explanation as to why they didn't just make a battery operated helicopter.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. And it's one of the reasons why I enjoyed being involved in the drone thing so much, is because it's such an alien technology to most of us. Fascinating to sort of learn more about it. So there must be some reasons, and I'm sure they'll all come out in the wash.
Yeah. Now, Matt, you've got the next story, not a BA one, because Nev's not here this week, but we've got a slight issue here with a couple, haven't we?
If you say so, yes. BBC.co.uk is the source on this one. And it's a wrong flight couple sent 1,500 miles to Lithuania, as you do. A couple were placed on the wrong flight for their family holiday in the sun, and instead ended up 1,500 miles away from their intended destination. The trip to Costa Brava was for Andrew Gore's 47th birthday. But while the rest of the party arrived in Barcelona airport, Andrew and wife Victoria found themselves in the Lithuanian city of Kaunas after discovering they had been put on the wrong Ryanair plane. The couple from Mountain Ash in Ronda I'm not even going to attempt the rest of that, said that they were feeling distraught. Wales, yeah, in Wales, essentially. Bristol Airport said it was working to investigate what happened and make improvements, while Ryanair said that crews make several announcements before departure, informing passengers of the flight destination. The couple had been ushered to the boarding gates at the airport and reassured the rest of their party was on board. We were told that we were definitely on the flight, and they said just relax, so we had a sleep as we'd been up very early, Mr. Gore said. When I woke up, it didn't look like Spain out of the window. I turned my phone on and it said, "Welcome to Lithuania." The couple have described it as a nightmare, which started when they arrived at Bristol Airport on Saturday, 25th of May, in good time for their 8:15 BST flight to Barcelona. They always use special assistance at airports because Andrew is an amputee and Victoria is autistic. Our flight number came up at the gate and we were taken to the bottom of the plane steps where the ground staff checked our boarding passes. Clearly not very well. Mr. Gore said when we got on the plane, the stewardess checked our passes again. There was no indication that anything could be wrong until they touched down in the Eastern European Baltic country. At first, they thought it was some kind of wind-up. After disembarking and alerting Ryanair officials to the fact that they were in the wrong country, they were booked on the next available flight to Barcelona. However, it was the next morning and from Riga, capital of neighbouring country Latvia. The airline booked the couple overnight accommodation and a 150-mile Uber ride to the airport. After landing in Barcelona, they finally made it to the hotel on the Costa Brava, but as they did not board the original flight from Bristol, their bags did not make it until 2 days later. It was surreal and an experience I never want to have to go through again. Our family were worried sick and we were exhausted when we did eventually arrive, Mr. Gore said. Even though they took us to the right place eventually, the experiences had already happened, the damage had been done, and we can't forget those worrying moments. A spokesperson for Ryanair said these passengers booked special assistance for this flight from Bristol to Barcelona, but Bristol Airport special assistance provider boarded them onto the wrong flight to Kaunas, despite gate signage clearly displaying the flight's destination. Before departing, crew made several announcements advising passengers of the flight's destination. Yeah, but we all know how terrible in-flight PAs are, to be fair. We sincerely apologise to these passengers for any inconvenience caused as a result of Bristol Airport special assistance provider's error. There is a little bit more to the story. I'm going to stop there, though. I'm going to focus on a couple of things with this, if I may. Andy, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this one. Yep. It's all very well blaming it on special assistance, and they should have absolutely taken them to the correct gate. There's no two ways about that, but I'm sorry, by reading this story, there were two previous opportunities by Ryanair staff themselves to say, hang on a minute, these guys are on the wrong plane. And that's the bit that worries me the most, is that the ticket wasn't checked properly. And they do say I know it's all QR codes and all that kind of thing, but the destination, if you like, is very, very clear on those, especially if it's an A4 piece of paper, but it's even clearer if it's on the phone. I appreciate, obviously, Special Assistance has a different arrangement. You're not necessarily having to go through... certainly, actually, when we've done Special Assistance with Mum, we've gone through the normal gate checking in procedure, if you see what I mean. We've still had to go to the gate. They just sort of take us to a different... they take us to a lift, basically, to get us on the ground. We still have to check in with the gate, if you see what I mean.
But the last check on this is down to the Ryanair crew. They should have checked when they boarded.
Absolutely.
Which flight they were on.
Yeah.
All of this talk about, well, we made plenty of announcements on board. Doesn't matter. It's your job to make sure these passengers are on the correct aircraft. Yeah. And also, they're lucky that there wasn't somebody else in the seat. Well, sorry, no, they're unlucky there wasn't somebody else in their seats, because then the error would have been flagged up and they wouldn't have had this issue at all.
Yeah.
Really big lapse of security, as well as just checking who's on which flight.
This is it. This is the thing, isn't it? And that's the thing for me is really just absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Special Assistance did make a mistake here. That is not in doubt. But in the story alone, certainly, again, admittedly, we've only got their version of events, if you see what I mean, because we've only had a statement, obviously, from Ryanair, who are clearly just blaming it on Special Assistance. But as you say, there were two opportunities here. The passes were checked by Ryanair crew twice, according to this story here, and that's the bit that worries me. And this is not the first time, Carlos, that we've done stories like this where people have ended up, and this didn't involve Special Assistance, where people have, because they're all crammed together, these gates, aren't they? And if you've got two flights more or less leaving at the same time, and it is the responsibility of the passenger, I totally agree, but they should still be checking those passes more thoroughly, and I think that's where the worry is for me. Is that, and I know they're busy, and I know they've got, especially with Ryanair, they've got short turnarounds. They're basically on the ground usually for 20 minutes or less, trying to turn around and get onto the next thing. But that's no excuse in my book not to check the passes properly, especially when you get on board. Now, I know when we've had these conversations before, and somebody was sort of defending crew, saying, really, when you're doing the check on the plane, all you're really doing is checking for the flight number. But I'm sorry, you should be looking at the whole thing in my book.
Yeah. Well, the flight number would be wrong as well.
Well, true. Sorry, I mean as in the seat number. My apologies. That's
No.
Normally, when you're going through the gate, they're normally not the gate. Sorry, when you're boarding the plane, they're sort of just checking to make sure that you're going towards the.
Shouldn't there be a head count though?
Yeah, the crew normally count. Yeah.
Again, that depends on the airline's policy, but there should be, at the end of the day, there's a
manifest. At the end of the day.
Yeah, the load form will have it on, and of course there's last minute changes. Some people check in online but then don't show up at the gate, and that's the only point where we actually find out if they've turned up or not. So it can be tricky to get exact figures until the very, very last minute.
Yes. So a bit of a tricky story, isn't it, really? But
always pays to listen. I always say
it does
when you get on board. Even if the PA systems are normally pretty rubbish, as we all know.
Actually, on that note, I will admit, several times I have said the wrong destination when I've done my welcome on board PA.
Love that. Any panic in the back there at all?
Yep. Lovely. Yep. Had several people madly run to the front going, sorry, did you see we're going to Edinburgh? Yeah, I did. Sorry, no, we're going to Paris. Apologies.
Love that.
It's easily done.
Love that.
Just you need to film it next time at least, Andy.
Oh no.
No.
People film too much stuff on aircraft as it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm with Andy on this one.
So, Andy, while we're on the subject, you've got the next one about making more room on aircraft. But looks like
this is from simpleflying.com, and the title is Double Decker Business Class: The Next Premium Seating Revolution. And we'll see about that. Every year at AIX, we see a range of innovative concepts for future aircraft cabins launched, from Macaro's plug-and-play tray tables to Panasonic's 45-inch curved IFE screens. One regular event attendee is Alejandro Nunez Vicente with his chaise long stacked seating concept. Each year, the concept continues to grab attention and interest at the show, with a full-scale economy prototype on show last year. However, Alejandro has upped the game again this year, launching a new mixed business and first-class concept, bringing stacked seating to a more premium market. This product has been named, wait for it, Elevated Class. The concept unlocks more space for passengers by stacking them on top of each other. While this doesn't sound like a luxurious solution, the results offer passengers an incredible amount of space compared to some current solutions. The idea is that the double-deck seating will only be placed in the middle of the cabin where it is highest, with typical seating remaining on the left and right. In the middle, there would be a 2-2 seating concept at the aisle level, with 2 business class seats, each with direct aisle access. Each business class seat will have integrated storage for 2 carry-on cases and a backpack. The seat has a width of 24 inches, or 61 centimetres, offering a bed length of 88.6 inches, so 2.25 metres. Meanwhile, above both of these sits a throne-style first-class seat centred in the middle of the cabin. Alejandro points out that all can have additional comfort due to the extra space created by raising the seat. For example, in the case of the raised first-class seat, he points out that even though the bed goes into a box, the additional space afforded means you don't have the sometimes coffin-like feel of some of the other seats. While a first-class seat would likely only be certified for 1 passenger during taxi, takeoff and landing, it is designed to be large enough to seat 2 comfortably for dinner services and watching a film, for example. As a larger seat, the first-class seat offers the possibility of integrated storage for 2 carry-on suitcases and 2 backpacks. And the seat is significantly wider at 39.8 inches. That's a metre wide. However, the bed clocks in slightly smaller than its business class counterpart, with a length of 79.5 inches and a width of 27.6 inches. That's 70 centimetres wide by 2 metres long. And yeah, sitting down with the Simple Flyer, Alejandro took the time to explain this concept and answer any potential problems. And yeah, so that's it really. It's this double stacked seat concept, which to me, to be honest, with previous versions that we've seen where it looks like bus seating stacked up on top of each other, this doesn't look too bad, actually.
I'd give it a go, definitely.
Yeah. It sort of reminds me of, like, train sleeper compartments.
It's funny because in the comments section on the article, people were absolutely losing their mind about it and saying, this is rubbish, who comes up with these stupid ideas? And I'm looking at it thinking, as an engineer, this is a really smart use of space. And like once you're in your little pod, if you like,
you're
like, what do you care what it looks like or how you get in there? You've got your nice little space to yourself. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, crew rest areas on aircraft are like this in the top
that's
of the
very
cabin.
true.
They are, yeah.
And they're quite comfortable.
Yeah. I remember a sort of a mutual cabin crew friend of ours showing me. I'm trying to think. I think it was on the A380. I think it was on the A380. They were, and they shared some photographs of the crew, and they were literally beds. You know, you know, like the sort of beds that like you see these tour buses where they've got like the sort of like multi-stacked beds with the curtain type thing, and it was just like that. But I mean, it's just like the little video and everything looked proper comfy.
Yeah, it's like beds on a ship, like a military ship or submarine or something like that. Yeah,
we did the story about it was New Zealand, wasn't it, that we're going to have the kind of bunk bed style things that you could sort of purchase time to use it during your flight.
Yeah.
I suppose my only question with this would come from a passenger safety point of view in terms of, but presumably as long as you have some sort of seat which has a seat belt which then turns into a bed, then I guess that would fit within the regulatory framework.
Which is what we currently have now.
Yeah,
I mean the bit that I had an issue with wasn't so much the bed; it was the fact that it was a ridiculous amount of money to just hire it for like a few hours. That was the thing. I wouldn't have minded it if that was you could pay for it for your whole flight. If you see what I mean.
Oh, is that the New Zealand one?
Yeah. That was.
Yeah.
It wasn't the design of the pods and stuff that bothered me. It was just literally that. Anyway, we could keep talking about it for hours and hours. We're not going to. Andy, I wondered if you could. I know. Andy, I wonder if you could take story number 4 for us, please.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, this is all about an Atlas Air cargo plane has landing incident after gear abnormality. An Atlas Air cargo plane was temporarily stranded due to damage to tyres whilst landing at Incheon International last week. According to the airport, the Atlas Air cargo flight had its tyres damaged while landing on the first runway at 7:05 a.m. on the same day. The cargo plane took off from Incheon's airport's third runway to Anchorage at 5:28 a.m., but an object believed to be a piece of tyre fell off in the process. The third runway was suspended to collect the object, and after that, the cargo plane turned back due to problems with its hydraulic system and landed on the first runway at 7:05 a.m. However, tyres and aviation lights were damaged in the process. The cargo plane stopped on the first runway at the airport. They like to full name this airport, don't they? They temporarily suspended the runway operation for tyre replacement and lamp repair. The airport was originally scheduled to resume operations on the runway at 3 p.m., but it was expected to resume at 6 p.m. I'm sure they have resumed. And then it goes on to say that the number of runways were reduced. I like that they call it the first runway, the second runway, the third runway, and the fourth runway.
Like that's how it works. Yeah.
This actually came from a local Korean website, and
okay. Right.
I did have to do a little bit of work on the translation. So I apologise if some of the English is a little bit skewed.
Yeah, the second runway is currently closed for repackaging work.
Oh,
which I'd like to know what repackaging work is.
That's not a routine I'm familiar with.
No, but it's a good job. The 747 has a lot of main landing gear because that centre one has been. I don't know if you showed the photos.
Yeah, I did. Obliterated. I think that's the one.
It's made some nice stripes on the runway, though.
Lovely. That'll keep the road guys busy, won't it? Putting that one right. Yeah, absolutely.
It'll improve grip.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah. It's kind of like a one only event, though, isn't it? That's the trouble.
Yes. Yeah.
Before it has to be massively resurfaced. Oh dear. Never mind. Anyway, we'll move on to the next story. Aviationsourcenews.com is the headline. Is the source, and the headline is Fly Jinnah A320 pressurization incident. Crew member unconscious. On the 24th of May 2024, a Fly Jinnah Airbus A320 registered Alpha Papa Bravo Oscar Victor, flying from Lahore to Karachi, experienced a serious incident likely due to pressurization problems. The Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation, BEA, in France have now documented the in-flight event. Fly Jinnah Flight 9 Papa 843, an Airbus A320 operating from Lahore Alma to International Airport, had departed for Karachi in Pakistan. After departure, the flight initially encountered a pressurization issue, causing the climb to be temporarily halted below 10,000 feet. However, after reporting the problem as resolved, the aircraft continued its ascent towards its planned cruising altitude of FL 360, 36,000 feet. Is that flight line, FL? Is that right? No?
Flight level.
Flight level. My apologies. Thank you. During the climb at around FL 230, 23,000 feet, both the pilot and co-pilot experienced symptoms of hypoxia. The operating crew reported feeling dizzy, drowsy and lethargic. Recognising the potential seriousness of the situation, they then donned their oxygen masks. The incident's impact wasn't limited to the cockpit. One cabin crew member fainted, but fortunately regained consciousness after receiving oxygen. It was also reported that the other cabin crew member experienced discomfort. Due to the suspected pressurization problem and the crew's condition, the flight diverted back to Lahore. At approximately 100 nautical miles from their original destination, the aircraft requested a descent and clearance to return to Lahore International Airport. The situation did not escalate further, and the aircraft subsequently made a safe landing in Lahore. The return landing was conducted approximately 45 minutes later after the the aircraft's initial departure. The aircraft operating the regional 9 Papa 843 service to Karachi was an Airbus A320-200, registered Alpha Papa Bravo Oscar Victor. This is a 13.5-year-old narrow-body aircraft belonging to the Pakistani carrier Fly Jinnah. It had been in operational service with the airline since January 2024, so not been with them long then by the sound of it. Prior to this service with Fly Jinnah, the aircraft was operated by Air Arabia. It was placed with the airline following its initial delivery in January 2011. The BEA report serves as a reminder of the importance of crew resource management and adherence to safety protocols during flight. While the report itself doesn't assign blame, it emphasises the need for thorough investigations to understand the cause of such incidents and implement preventative measures to ensure passenger and crew safety on future flights. I mean, a lot to unpack there. Shall we start with Andy? I mean, obviously the crew did absolutely the right thing here, recognising the symptoms nice and early. And no real harm. By the sound of it, it wasn't just isolated to the cockpit area, though. By the sound of things.
Well, no, because the whole aircraft's pressurised as one unit.
Right.
So obviously, the cockpit is not a separate pressure bulkhead to the rest of the airframe. The thing I find interesting here is the cabin. Once the cabin altitude exceeds 9,500 feet, there should have been an ECAM warning to tell the crew that they have excessive cabin altitude.
Right.
To either stop their climb before they get to 10,000 feet, which it looks like that might have been the initial thing that they got, when they temporarily halted the climb at 10,000 feet. And then they seem to have pressurized it and then carried on, and then both experienced symptoms of hypoxia. So it could have been as part of those symptoms of hypoxia, they didn't even notice that the cabin altitude had climbed again and the warnings were going off.
Right.
But it is absolutely fantastic. They both realised and put the masks on, because the time of useful consciousness, especially as you get up to the high 30,000s of feet, becomes seconds, not minutes of time before you're unconscious. So they did a really good job. And I'll be very interested to see what the final report says about the state of the aircraft and what the fault was that actually caused this. I mean, it could be something as simple. I've seen it before where a cabin door has had the seal replaced and the seal's been put on backwards, so it's not sealed correctly.
Right, yeah.
And all things like that. But yeah, good job getting it back on the ground. Everybody's alive. That's the main thing.
Indeed. Just out of interest, Andy, have you ever had a sort of situation where, pressurising the cabin has been an issue?
No. Only ever seen it in the simulator. For real, no.
Okay, nice.
There's a few checks I like to do as we're climbing through around 10,000 feet, just to see if the differential pressure between the cabin and the outside world is where it should be. And that would normally flag up a problem if there was one.
Indeed. Okay, we'll move on to the next story then. We covered this story obviously when it happened, but Carlos, we've got a bit of an update, I should say, on the compensation situation for these people.
Well, some of the passengers got an upgrade.
Well, yeah, true.
This is from theguardian.com, and this is all about the Singapore Airlines incident that we covered a few weeks back, the turbulence, to put it lightly. Singapore Airlines has offered $10,000 US dollars compensation payments to passengers who suffered minor injuries during a flight last month that hit sudden extreme turbulence. On Tuesday this week, the airline announced it had sent compensation offers to passengers who were on board flight SQ321 from London to Singapore on the 20th of May, which dropped 54 metres in altitude in less than 5 seconds while flying over Myanmar. A 73-year-old British man died during the incident, possibly from a heart attack, and the Boeing 777-300ER diverted to Bangkok for an emergency landing. Of the 211 passengers and 18 crew on board, 104 were injured, and as of Monday, the 12th passengers remained hospitalised in Bangkok. The airline said it sent compensation offers of $10,000 US dollars to those who received minor injuries on Monday, and would discuss larger payments for more serious injuries with those passengers. For those who sustained more serious injuries from the incident, they've invited them to discuss a compensation offer to meet each of their specific circumstances when they feel well and ready to do so. Passengers medically assessed as having sustained serious injuries requiring long-term medical care and requesting financial assistance are offered an advance payment of $25,000 to address their immediate needs. This will be part of the final compensation that these passengers will receive, it said. Singapore Airlines will also refund all passengers on the flight, even those who were not injured, as well as offer compensation for delays they are entitled to under European Union's or United Kingdom's regulatory schemes. Under the Montreal Convention, airlines are liable for damages for injury or death of those passengers while on aircraft. While many passengers sustained minor injuries and continued their travels, 20 were treated in intensive care units in Bangkok hospitals. Injuries of the most seriously affected included skull and brain and spinal injuries, with at least one passenger subsequently experiencing no sensation from her waist down. Photographs inside the cabin, which we obviously had on the show when we covered this story, revealed panels hanging from the ceiling and the floor covered in food and drinks with luggage scattered around and patches of blood stain on the carpets. I know, it was terrible, wasn't it, guys? The airline noted it provided all passengers with 1,000 Singapore dollars or $739 worth each to meet their immediate expenses upon departure from Bangkok. That it also said they'd been covering the medical expenses of the injured passengers and arranged for their family members and loved ones also to fly up to Bangkok where requested. The aircraft experienced a rapid change in G, gravitation force. This likely resulted in occupants who were not belted up becoming airborne in the cabin. Singapore's Transport Ministry said in a statement to a report by the Transport Safety Investigation Bureau. The vertical acceleration changed from negative 1.5 G to positive 1.5 G within 4 seconds, and this likely resulted in the occupants who were airborne to fall back down, it said, citing information extracted from the flight data and cockpit recorders.
Now, Carlos, I've got...
I say it begs the question, you know, right, looking at this, reading this story, I wonder whether... I haven't even looked at mine. I wonder whether your holiday insurance covers you for something like this.
So here's the question. This is why I love our chat room here. Actually, Dirk is asking a very straightforward question, which, to be honest with you, didn't even enter my head. And I'd appreciate feedback from all of you on this one. So Dirk is actually saying that's an adequate compensation package. Did they have to compensate at all, legal wise? I mean, it raises a good question, doesn't it? Actually, do they have? I mean, it's great that they've done what they've done, but did they have any legal requirement to do so?
Under the Montreal Convention, they are liable for damages from injury or death while on board their aircraft. So they would have had a lawsuit incoming at some point, and this looks like it's a preemptive attempt. To, if you accept that money, then obviously you cannot sue them further.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's a hefty chunk, 10 grand. But of course, you don't know the damage that these people and what, especially that woman who can't feel below the waist and stuff like that, and the things she's going to have to change in her life. So, is it enough? And the airline's insurance company will cover this. That's why the insurance premiums are so expensive for airlines. But yeah, there's several conventions: the Chicago Convention, the Montreal Convention, so that the ICAO got everybody to agree on all the countries about how they go about dealing with injuries, disasters, rights of overfly, and all that sort of stuff. Because it is a worldwide thing, obviously. But yeah, so they probably still will have a lawsuit come knocking at some point once all the investigation's complete and stuff. But yeah, be interesting because it's going to be difficult to tell. Did this crew fly through a patch of weather or air that they knew about before, or was it completely out of the blue? You know, that's where the lawsuit will come from in the end, unfortunately.
Fair, yeah, no, okay, interestingly. So John in the chat room has been asking, so he's saying that I think that there is a clause saying a certain amount of SDR, special drawing rights. I think the SDR's value changes over time, but I'm sure they are not an enormous amount. So that's not a term I've heard before. Andy, is that something you're familiar with, SDRs?
No, I just fly the things. I don't get involved in the law side of things.
Yeah.
I fly them, and I teach people how to fly them and make sure people can fly them. That's my area of specialty.
Indeed. I see. John's popped a little link in there. I might have a look at that in a minute. It's just piqued my interest. The nerd in me is interested in all this kind of stuff.
I'm going to have to look at
my
my worldwide holiday insurance cover and see if it does say on there. It probably doesn't, but
well, they may well offer it on the grounds that if it is a significant event, that they will be able to recoup some of their losses from the airline involved. You know, it's not uncommon in the insurance industry to reinsure elsewhere, if you see what I mean. So you know, very very common.
Andy, as you are our resident Airbus captain, would you like the next one?
Yes, and just before we move on, though, I will pass on to John, who's put the Warsaw Convention link in there. The Montreal Convention actually replaced the Warsaw Convention.
Nice. Okay. Right.
Yeah. So there we go. Bit of air law that I remember.
Okay. Totally
from a long time ago.
Actually, Dirk's put a good question in there before we move on as well, saying, can we bring on a lawyer? Do we know a lawyer? Is there someone we can reach out to who could perhaps come on and talk to us about these sort of things?
Oh, aviation law.
I mean, it'd be a very busy show. I don't think we'd need to do any news stories.
No.
Air law was not one of my favourite parts of the
no,
PPI
I bet.
You could do a show just called Ask the Lawyer.
Yeah.
I think there'd be lots of questions of, my flight was delayed, this was the flight number, am I owed compensation?
With our audience, no, because they're all very, very sensible.
Very true.
You know, indeed. To be fair, I think they would be some very sensible questions and stuff. But that's your mission, Nick and/or Carlos, please.
Nick.
Oh, charming!
His face, his
all
face
right.
says it all.
Feel free to reach out to Mr. I've forgotten his surname. John. Anyway, feel free to reach out to John. I'm sure they might be able to find some contacts on that note.
Yeah.
Clara, there it is.
That's it, John Clara, that's it. So anyway, moving on. Andy,
Yes.
Andy, moving on to an aircraft. I think you've got a few hours on the old 319.
Oh, yes, got a fair few hours on the old 319. So this is from aerotime.aero. And British Airways A319 hydraulic leak injures ground staff and forces evacuation. Ooh. Passengers on board British Airways Airbus A319 at Stuttgart Airport were evacuated after a hydraulic fluid leak activated a smoke alert as boarding was being completed. Ooh. Although there were no injuries amongst those on board, 5 members of the ground crew were injured, 4 of which attended hospital as a result. The incident unfolded as British Airways flight BA921 prepared to depart Stuttgart in Germany, heading to Heathrow on the 8th of June. The scheduled departure time for the flight was 2200 local time. The flight had 93 passengers and 6 crew on board as it waited for the ground crew to complete their checks before the aircraft was pushed back from its parking stand. According to a report published by the Avherald, the ground crew went to close one of the aircraft's 2 lower deck cargo doors following the completion of loading of passenger baggage. However, a leak from a hydraulic line activated a smoke alert on board the aircraft caused by a technical defect in the hydraulic system of the cargo door. The plane was evacuated as a result of the alert, according to the airline's standard operating procedures. 5 ground workers received injuries from the leaking hydraulic oil, and 4 of them were taken to hospital for further evaluation to assess their injuries, according to a statement issued by Stuttgart Police. The airport fire and rescue service dispatched a total of 33 vehicles onto the scene, including fire appliances and ambulances. 2 police patrol cars also attended the incident. The flight was subsequently cancelled, with all the passengers being rebooked onto the following day's flights. Then it just states that the aircraft was 23 years old, and it returned back to Heathrow the following day. So there we go. Hydraulic fluid. It's very dangerous, carcinogenic, nasty stuff, which still surprises me in the modern world that we put this sort of stuff in systems, but it's very good under pressure and it can take huge amounts of heat as well. Yeah, and probably to get technical, it's the yellow system that powers the cargo doors, and if a line burst, it would have probably sprayed out like a mist into the cargo hold, and the smoke detectors down there, they're not there to detect purely smoke. They will detect anything that blocks the beam of particles going between the 2 points, and it classes that as a fire. Because in the case of if you had an actual fire in there and then discharged the fire extinguishers, which are like a powder, you will never get rid of the smoke warning because of all of the powder in the air.
Oh, wow. Okay, right.
Yeah, which is a sort of a niche, weird thing about smoke detectors. Once they've set off down there, it's difficult, if you have got a real fire, to determine if the fire is out airborne. But yeah, so those poor guys on the ground who probably got covered in this stuff, and if it gets in eyes and in places, it's awful stuff.
I bet. As you say, it's in this day and age. It's amazing that there hasn't been a more ergonomic solution, if you like, to the highly hideous and potentially very dangerous fluid that you speak of.
Yeah, it's very good at doing its job, and I think that's why they haven't found anything better yet.
It probably doesn't happen very often, does it?
No.
No.
You know, all it would take would be, you know, it would probably be a flexible rubber hose, which would have perished over time, got a split in it, and unfortunately a hydraulic system will be operating at a very high pressure.
What do you think the pressure is in a hydraulic system like that?
Well,
Bet you
200 bar. 200 bar.
I need it in PSI, please. Real numbers.
I
SI
don't
units.
know.
so the nearest I would have got to for that, I think I once set up an injection molding facility for a company that I worked for, and that had a very high pressure hydraulic system that would open and close the tooling on the injection mold machine, and I think that was something ridiculous, like 2,500 PSI.
Oh,
which feels like it would probably take your arm off.
Yeah, this is at 3,000 PSI fluid in the air. Airbus hydraulic systems.
Gosh, so if it goes, that goes with a bang.
Yeah, it really goes.
And it'll empty itself quite quickly, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All over the clothes that are in the hold. Yeah, lovely.
Doesn't smell good either.
No, indeed. Okay, well...
Do you want me to take the next one, Matt?
No, that's all right. No, I'm all good.
You good? This is a bit hot. I just thought this might bring back memories of last summer in the PTUK studio.
It's getting like that today. We've had one slightly warm day, and I've pulled the blinds, and it's all gone a bit warm. I'm looking forward to when we play out our video, so I can put the fan on full pelt. Anyway, I'm not reading the stuff that's in green. Nick, you need to have your wrist slapped. The independent.co.uk is the source on this one. Yeah, Carlos has just seen it, lost it. Anyway, Qatar Airways passengers stuck in plane on runway. Sorry, I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing. This is very, very serious. Qatar Airways passengers stuck in plane on runway for 3 hours with no cooling in Athens heatwave. Dozens of Qatar Airways passengers had to endure an extreme heatwave in Greece while stuck inside the flight for 3 hours on the tarmac without any air conditioning. Around 49 team members returning from the World Championships were on board the Doha-bound Qatar Airways Flight 204 on Monday in 39 degrees Celsius heat, which was delayed at Athens airport. The captain refused to allow passengers to deboard the aircraft despite the air conditioning system being out of order. The passengers complained they were kept on the plane for 3 hours with the flight's doors closed. Thai newspaper Machikon reported the extreme temperature inside the flight caused nosebleeds. Wow, really? In travellers, while some had to rely on oxygen masks. Authorities in Greece had suspended schools, shut the ancient Acropolis tourist site, and stationed medics across Athens as it faced the first heatwave of this summer. The temperatures were expected to hit 43 degrees Celsius on Thursday in parts of the Mediterranean country, driven by southerly winds, bringing hot air dust and dust from North Africa. A video shared by sports therapist Garth Collins showed restless passengers trying to keep themselves cool by using makeshift fans, with some men even seen standing without shirts. People are passing out and panic ensued, Mr. Collins wrote on Instagram. He said passengers were eventually given a cup of water and a small soft drink, which was completely insufficient to rehydrate an individual after the enforced sauna on the plane. The passengers were allowed to get off the plane after 3.5 hours and wait on the tarmac following a strong protest and argument with the cabin crew. Airport officials had to put fire trucks on standby after smoke was reportedly seen from the aircraft's rear. They said they only spotted the smoke after deboarding the plane. I consider myself lucky to have survived this, one person told reporters, adding that the passengers were melting in the sauna like heat. Australian passengers Jenny and her husband Joe, who were also on the flight, described the horrendous experience. I'm a frequent flyer, I travel regularly, and I just don't understand why we were allowed to board the plane in the first place, not to mention what unfolded afterwards. It was just horrendous. She said the flight attendants were doing the best they could and even brought a tray with some cups of water, but I'm not sure if they made it to the whole plane. It seemed like they didn't know any more than we did about what was going on. I won't. The story goes on, but I won't go on. I mean, this. What have I missed here? Because I don't understand how this was allowed to continue for so long. What would have been the reason why? I mean, I get that you don't want people coming off the plane because if you're on, it's an active airfield. I get all that, but I mean, first of all, can you fly with the air system not working in any way, shape, or form?
So on the ground, the air conditioning can be provided by the APU at the back, which is used to start engines as well, or it can be provided by a ground air conditioning unit, which is a big diesel generator that powers several AC units, and you connect a big hose up to the aircraft. It does the same job as the APU. So it looks like in this case, the APU was probably in op, and the ground air conditioning units were probably in op as well. Now, I would say probably, because there's not too much detail here on it, the captain will have been informed that they had a slot to depart, and his thoughts would have been, well, let's get everybody on board and see if there is an improvement to the slot, because once you've got everybody on board, you can say, we're ready. Can you fit us in any earlier? And they look to try and fit you in earlier to get you into the airspace. But it appears that doesn't seem to have worked. Well, it doesn't, because they're on the ground. They weren't on the runway, as the title said, which is very misleading. But there should have been better communication from the flight deck here on this. And also, after an hour, if it was getting that hot, would I really keep all these people on board? No, I'd probably just get everybody off and try again later, or try and persuade the airport to get me ground power. But again, this is a different airline to who I fly for. We are given the autonomy just to get on and do what we need to do, and I don't know how it works in Qatar. But yeah, in temperatures into 40 degrees. On board the aircraft, it would have been pushing 60 easily.
What about opening some doors just to get some airflow?
Yep. Get the doors open, as long as they follow their procedures to do that, because you shouldn't have a door open without any platform outside. Right. Because that's a big safety risk for somebody just wandering around and going, straight out, falling down. People have died doing that. But yeah, that's another option. Could have opened doors. It's a big problem in the airline world, this at the moment, with spare parts for APUs being quite difficult to get hold of still since the pandemic. So yeah, there's probably a lot of stuff going on, badly communicated, and these passengers had a bit of a rough time with it, which is very unfortunate.
Absolutely. Pretty awful, really, isn't it? I mean, it's just, we've all been in hot sort of scenarios where we've been stuck on a bus or a train where, even in this country where, as soon as the train loses power for whatever reason, of course, you lose all the air conditioning systems and that. And even in our country, which doesn't get particularly hot, it can be pretty horrendous. I mean, we're lucky that something more serious didn't happen here, and that for me is the biggest issue. Is just like when it became clear after a couple of hours, why was it another hour and a half before sense prevailed? Frankly, I get
because I get it as well. If we've done 2 hours, there's an hour to go. We're probably going to get airborne then, because as soon as the engines would have been started, lovely cold air would have started flooding in.
Right, okay.
Because obviously you can't go flying without air coming in, otherwise you have the same issue as that A320. Everybody's on oxygen masks. You need the air. And they could have started an engine if they were allowed to. That's another option, which Bill has just pointed out actually. But starting an engine then requires another set of procedures, but if you're going to be sat there for 3 hours, would I load the extra fuel? Possibly.
And forgive again the naivety here. I mean, the starting the engine. I mean, how long could you sort of because presumably it can not quite idle, if you see what I mean, in order to give the power that's required.
Oh no, idle power is more than enough.
Yeah,
for,
okay.
Air conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power coming from an idling engine.
Yeah,
especially if this was a 777, like a G90 or something like that. Does it say the aircraft? I can't remember. It doesn't say the type, does it?
No, I don't think it does. I mean, realistically, how long could it have been idling for before it became a major issue in terms of like having? I mean, could they have easily just taken on some more fuel, for example, or is it as simple as that if they needed to?
Probably sits and burns around 500 kilos an hour, which is a lot of fuel idle on the ground.
Yeah.
But for aircraft that size, over that length of sector, they had plenty of room to take an extra few tons. So yeah.
Interestingly enough, John Falk is saying in the chat room here, he's saying that USA rules now, airlines must return planes to the gate and let passengers off any time a flight is sitting on the tarmac for 3 hours, and that's just on domestic flights.
Yep, everywhere's got its different rules.
Yeah. Alan is saying in the chat room, happened to me in Darwin on a 767 APU, and ground power could not start the engines, so we missed our slot and had to sit on the tarmac in 40-degree heat for 3 hours waiting for maintenance and ATC. Wow.
There's nothing worse than using ground air to try and start an engine, and you need it to get to say 30 psi, and the poor little thing will only pump out 25, and you desperately try and turn over that engine, and it just doesn't work.
It's just like saying, nah, I'm all right, thanks. Oh well.
But yeah, even in this case, the captain should have just let them get off and just wait a bit longer, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
So, from hot situations to large situations with the largest airport. Comes from the express.co.uk. Inside the world's largest £23 billion airport with four more runways than Heathrow. So the £23 billion airport set to open in 2030 would be the largest in the world, accommodating up to 20 million people. The huge new airport is set to open in just 6 years' time, costing £23 billion, and will take the crown of being the world's largest airport. It will achieve this status by integrating the existing terminals of the airport already in situ, operating since 1983. So, King Salman International Airport, opening in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in 6 years, is anticipated to become the world's biggest airport, with 6 runways and estimated to serve 120 million passengers. This is said to likely increase to 185 million passengers by 2050 as part of the drive to increase tourism in the area. The airport project is in line with Saudi Arabia's vision to transform Riyadh to become the top 10 city economies in the world and to support the growth of Riyadh's population from 15 to 20 million people by 2030, said a statement from the Saudi press agency. The agency also said that they hope the new airport will become a metropolis centred around a seamless customer journey, world-class efficient operators and innovation. Spanning over 22 square miles, over 4 square miles have been set aside for retail outlets, which will please those partial to a pre-flight shopping spree in the duty-free. In comparison, Heathrow Airport covers just over 4 square miles, the same size set aside just for retail at King Salman. The new airport will also have 3 times as many airports as Heathrow and 41 million more passengers than the busiest airport in Europe. The construction is set to create 150,000 jobs, ranging from air traffic control operators to baristas. The architect of the project is a British firm, Foster and Partners, and the company that also worked on the new Marseille airport and the Midtown bus terminal in New York City. The UK construction firm Mace is serving as the delivery partner, and currently the largest airport in the world is King Fahd International Airport, also known as Daman Airport, also in Saudi Arabia. It is also the 3rd largest airport in the country in terms of passenger volume, welcoming more than 10 million passengers a year and being served by 37 airlines. Now, Andy, as a pilot, having to contend with 6 operational runways.
What is the need for an airport this big? Where is the need in Saudi Arabia for an airport this big?
Because they want a bigger airport than the one that the Emirates have, basically.
Oh, at Dubai, yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Do you think this is a case of a bit of corporate something or other waving?
Yes, indeed. My airport is bigger. Yes, my airport is bigger than your airport. Yes,
exactly.
22 square miles. Can you imagine how big the duty free is going to be in there, and how long it's going to take you to walk through it?
Yeah, at least a couple of miles. It'll be like doing one of your. It'll be like doing one of your challenges, Andy, to get from one end of
But just think about how many Toblerones they'd be able to fit.
Oh my goodness, what a thought!
I'm going.
I'm up for that. I love a Toblerone.
Actually, you've got to do a transfer.
You're gonna need to take like running shoes, water to like transfer from gate 1 to gate 1763B.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. What they need is a little monorail. That'll solve it.
Well, it's probably got a high speed mag rail train service underneath it. Well, spending all this money.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah.
They'll have to implement like a mini airline to fly you from one side of the airport to the other.
I could use one of those eVTOLs.
Yeah, that links back into the I love the segue back to that. That's beautiful.
Oh, it was award-winning, wasn't it?
It was. You should work in radio.
Oh,
no. But no, it's going to be interesting to see if they actually pull this off, because they're predicting, what they say, 2030. I mean, that's not exactly that far away in terms of time. Is that
yeah. I mean, it's far enough away, I think.
But then, mind you, saying that, these guys over in the Middle East and that, they can, build huge skyscrapers in like 10 minutes. So, yeah, and Andy's right. Yeah, exactly. So that is the end of the commercial news for this week. And next part of the show is a firm favourite with many of the listeners, including Dirk. This is one of his favourite parts of the show, I know. And it is our retro airline ad of the week. Now, Andy, I'll let you introduce this one, being as you haven't introduced a retro airline ad of the week yet. So what is up this week, Andy?
Well, this week, we go back to 1985, the year I was born. There you go, that'll make you feel old. When airline adverts were very entertaining, especially this totally virgin treat.
Good morning.
Some girls think all air stewardesses need is acting ability.
Good morning. Good morning.
Next. Some think they're just models.
Excuse me, stewardess.
Next. Some think they have to be in charge.
Sit up, table up, belt tight.
Next. Some think it's a good way to get married.
And if there's anything else.
Next. But Virgin Atlantic needs you to fly with us again to keep our fares low. So we try only to employ stewardesses who want to be stewardesses. Well, most of the time. Virgin Atlantic, we cut fares, not corners.
Is that acceptable in the modern world?
Hello.
Some airlines have girls who make you want to dance for joy. Some airlines will do anything to make their passengers comfy and serve food that's far from plain food. Some have flights so good you won't want to get off. And some airlines offer their passengers incredible service. But only one has standards as good as, if not better than the rest, combined with a fare to New York that's considerably lower. Virgin Atlantic, which is why over 250,000 people fly with us to the USA every year. Virgin Atlantic. We cut fares, not corners.
Wow, 2 for the price of 1 there, Carlos.
2 for the price of 1 there this week. Oh, my word. Two classics there.
I'm so horrified by both of those. I literally don't know where to begin.
They were
of their time, I think is the word we're looking for there. Oh my goodness. They've not aged well, have they?
They probably wouldn't get away with those sorts of adverts.
No, absolutely not.
Not in a billion years.
Were you impressed, Andy?
By the adverts?
Yes.
No comment on this one. No comment.
I'm quite impressed with the fares. 99 quid to fly to New York.
Well, yes,
I'm up for a bit of that.
That would be all right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially if it's on a 747.
Well, yes, quite. Yeah, yes, I think I could tolerate being sat on by somebody I didn't know, in order to sort of endure a £99 flight at. In-flight comforts. Thanks, and Richard. That's it. Woof, gone. Let's make that one go away. Well, Carlos, I think you've excelled yourself. That's all I'm saying.
I did sit here this beginning of this week. I did get some new little delights to play out in future episodes. So yeah, we've got some.
Lovely.
More.
Is that for the personal collection? Is it
for the personal? Yeah.
Quite.
Do you know what? It's surprising just how many retro airline ads there are to see.
Right.
I mean, some of the ones I did actually get one this week that was filmed in 1965.
Wow. I've got to see that.
That is an airline ad.
See, the rest of us like to look for cat videos, and Carlos just goes for these old airline ads.
Yeah, absolutely. Ain't that the truth?
I'd love to see what the algorithm has done to his search history.
So anyway, coming up next on the show,
just before you move on, sorry, Nick, £99 is worth from 1985 is now worth £380. So it's not. You can get a cheap ticket.
I will still take that. I will still take that. Yeah. What do you reckon the cheapest flight to New York would be at the moment from London?
Norse,
you'd have to go.
Norse
What?
Are doing them, aren't they?
I was going to say Norse or JetBlue from Gatwick, maybe.
Yeah, Norse are advertising fares to New York.
Depends if that's. I guess that's one way, isn't it?
Yeah, 400 quid. I think 300 and something quid.
There you go. It's the same price, really. It's the same price.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm looking at flights to Dubai, and they're £450 return.
Yeah, that's not New York.
No, I know, but that's further, isn't it?
Still cheap.
We're doing a comparison, aren't we, between 1985 of £99.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
Oh, in fact, if you want to go to Norse, if you want to go with Norse tomorrow to New York, round trip, one traveller is £264 one way.
Wow.
Better go and grab my car keys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can even take your wallet with you.
Wow, that's impressive.
A carry-on wallet.
You can do a return trip for what is this? They're going to try and get me to add all sorts on now, aren't they? I don't want to tip.
You want a seat? You want
a seatbelt? Oh, well, that's extra. So
oh God! Don't want me to pick my seats as well. Yeah,
access to the toilet. Yes, that'll be another £100.
What's this, sir? You want a plug door?
Yeah, so £590 return. That's pretty good.
So next week on the PT UK, why isn't Andy here? Oh, he's in New York.
Yes. Andy be dialing in from his hotel
from Times Square. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Hobby Time makes a very good point actually in the chat room, Matt. I'll just pop that up on the screen.
Indeed, so still can't beat the Cadbury Smash advert. Cadbury Smash.
Remember, for For mash get
That's not
smashed.
Cadbury, though, is it? That's
No, it's not. Well,
That was the one with the robot, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was.
Yeah,
Wasn't
the
it?
robots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Smash yeah, that wasn't Cadbury. That was. It might have been Nestle. To be
Nestle?
fair, it was someone like that. Yeah.
Anyway, we got off topic again.
Yeah,
Honestly,
sorry.
what we do,
Food.
lads?
It's all
Come
about
on.
food. Yeah, absolutely. We definitely all need to eat before we come on the podcast.
We do, yeah. Right, so next up on the show, we are going to have a chat, an interview we've done with listener Alan White, and this was kind of the evening before we all left Dublin. Now, for those of you who didn't realise or didn't know, Alan was instrumental in getting us out there. He was our he was our chauffeur for the whole entire trip we were in Dublin. And he sorted out some great stuff that we'd done. And he's also a really nice chap. If you ever get the chance to meet Alan White, he is very, very nice. He's a very nice chap indeed. He's very, very nice to talk to. And
you turned into an AA ad here. You're doing. He was a very nice man. Yes, he was a very nice man. Yes.
And Alan was instrumental in helping, obviously, Nev with getting all the equipment over as well, and the logistics and transporting us around Dublin. So I had the chance to have a longer conversation with Alan over a pint of Guinness, I might just add.
Of course.
So he could tell us about his flying background and what makes him such a loyal P2UK listener. Well, it wouldn't be a trip to Dublin without meeting one of the most famous people in Dublin, obviously a P2UK listener and viewer, Alan White. Hello.
Carlos, Cave Mila Falcha, good Balio Ockley and you. Welcome to Dublin today.
Yes, lovely weather we're having today, yes.
Yesterday, after the snow yesterday, that was a bit unplanned, wasn't it?
Oh, it's been a absolute roaring last few days. We got in Thursday, and Alan had a really nice treat for us, P2UK team, because Alan, what was that treat you had in store for us?
I spoke to a good friend of mine, Shay Pardy, who is a bit of a legend here in Ireland in terms of aviation. He's an A320 pilot for a carrier, an Irish carrier. And he also owns Simtech, which is a simulator training centre here at Dublin Airport. They do everything from MCC, JOC training through to type ratings on the A320 and the ATR aircraft. So we had a good interview with Shay, and then I believe he went on to do a few approaches in and out of Malta, Carlos, and we had Nev into Gibraltar as well.
Yeah, we're not going to publicise or show my approach into Jersey because,
The job offers are in the post, I think, from the various airlines.
It was, how can I put this? It was definitely a Ryanair landing.
Yeah, there was a couple of oleos broken on it, but you know what? We live to fight another day, eh?
So, Alan, obviously we're here at the hotel and we're kind of wrapping up our weekend here for the Drone Summit 2024. And you got the chance to be with us today. How was that?
Great day. Always great to see everybody and explore an area that I really don't know much about in aviation, drones, ORPAS, UAVs. All these terms are something that I'm not familiar with, so it was great to see some demonstrations, speak to some of the operators, some of the owners, and find out a little bit more about the actual flying process, the certification process, the rules, the regulations, because I'm familiar with Class A, Class B, Class G airspace, and just to hear where they fit into it all.
Now, Alan, obviously the listeners have seen you in the chat room. You watch the show, and whatever do you watch? Honestly, what are you watching the show? But you But you watch the show, and firstly, thanks for being part of the community. It's great to have you in the chat room. But what first drew you to P2K?
I can't remember really. I think it was about 2017, and there was another aviation podcast kept mentioning your name, and it was a little bit closer to home for me, being based here in Dublin. So I gave you a listen and been hooked ever since. The fact that you have the YouTube chat room is a huge draw for me. I love getting in there and having a bit of a laugh every Wednesday. Well, it's Friday, obviously now it's Wednesday with the rest of the participants in the chat room. So do you know what? It's a great fix of my civil and military news for the week, because in my kind of line of business, working in aviation, it's good to stay abreast of what's happening. So I must say I really enjoy the podcast, and great to meet you guys at last. I've met Nev before, but first time meeting yourself, Matt, and Matsy as well.
Well, thanks for being a viewer of this show. We really appreciate it. Now, for the benefit of the listeners, Alan, obviously seeing you in the chat room, they see your name in there. But about yourself, what do you do? I mean, what do you do? What is your job? Do you fly?
So, yeah, good question. I have a commercial pilot's license, frozen ATPL, and instructor's rating. Got about 800 hours on the clock. I did my I'll go back to the very start. I did my commercial pilot training in Australia, in Jandakot, in Western Australia in 2010, and came back and did my IOR in Cranfield in the UK, which is a big difference between flying in Western Australia and Cranfield. And then came back and started doing my instructor rating in Dublin 2012. Worked for about 3 years as an instructor, flying Cessna 150s, Cessna 172s, and then found my way to flying a desk where I am at the moment. So I work for an e-learning company, so we do all aviation training, pilot training, down to security training for anyone that works in the airport, retail staff, maintenance staff. So yeah, still very much part of the aviation industry, just flying a desk instead of an aircraft at the moment.
And you enjoy it?
I love it, yeah, I've got to say. My employer, it's a small company, they're very flexible, and very kind of, they look after me well anyway, in terms of I get lots of trips. I think last year I think I did 65 trips to the UK, France, 1 trip to the United States, so I do a lot of flying in the back, but yeah, that might change in the future, we'll see what happens.
Are you one of these gold member people like us, our very own Neville Bounds?
Well, my employer's not watching this, but yeah, I'm called concierge, which is the Aer Lingus top tier. Yeah, so yes, there's a lot of perks with that, and but I must say, I work hard to kind of build up the hours, and a lot of business trips to warrant the flying.
We were talking earlier, Alan, obviously with the job that you're currently doing, obviously the flying that you've done in the past, but you said you're going to try and get back into the swing of doing more flying.
That's the plan, yeah, absolutely. So when I kind of stepped back in 2013, I had a young daughter, and I wanted to spend more time at home. You know, when I was instructing, I was out in the airport a lot, so I kind of, when the opportunity came to join the current employer, it was perfect timing for me. I must say, I really, I miss flying. Hopefully I'll get back into it soon enough, so we'll see what happens. Watch this space.
Now, as all as hosts, obviously with Neville Bounds as obviously and Mrs. Bounds, I've obviously got my Gemma at home. Doing this show takes a lot of time and you know, putting stuff together, and obviously our fascination with aviation gets us to do many weird and wonderful things. Obviously going to air shows and visits to flight decks when we're on holiday and stuff like that. But what does your wife think about your aviation bug fix, as say?
She's all for it. On one of her first trips to Australia, I took her up for a flight, and I think I nearly scared her off flying completely, trying to do a rate 1 turn or a steep turn over the kind of deserts of Australia. But no, she's all for it. She actually really enjoys it. She's flown 3 or 4 times with me, and from day one of our relationship, she's known it was the dream. So, you know, the money from our wedding was used to fund my instructor rating. So she's my #1 fan and championing me all the way. So now I must say it's kind of critical for any pilot to have a supportive family, spouse. You know, as you know as well, Carlos, as well. It's the most important thing. So yeah.
Is she tempted to have a go herself?
I might have scared her off, to be honest, with my rate 1 turns in Western Australia. No, I think she'll leave it to me, and I think she's seen the amount of money I've put into it so far, so that scared her off as well.
Now, you've got little ones at home, obviously you've got kids, and I always think this, when you have children, especially at that age where they are really starting to pick up and learn things that their mums and dads do, or what their hobbies are you hoping that your children will also move into aviation, or do you think?
I'm not going to sway them. They have spent quite a bit of time already sitting at runways watching A320s taking off and landing at Dublin Airport, and listening to live ATC in the car, and yeah, they've been down in Bray at the air show, and they've seen the Red Arrows take off quite a few times already. So I'm hoping my subtle little pushes might work out, and we'll see what happens in the future. But I'm not going to influence them. Yeah, I'll support them whatever they choose to do. But if it wasn't aviation, I wouldn't be against it.
Now, Alan, one last question. And you know what that question is.
I got a feeling I know this one. I prepped for this one, all right.
So we're going to give you that chance to go down to Dublin now and just jump on board any aircraft you like and fly around, do a circuit, and, well, whatever aircraft you want. What's it going to be, Alan?
Do you know what? I always thought I would have said the F-14 because, you know, everyone watched the original Top Gun and said that was what got them into aviation. I'm sure you've had that a million times. I'm going to say the SR-71 because, you know, to be able to go multiple times the speed of sound, and then also the altitude where you can see the curvature of the Earth as well. I think that's my choice, SR-71 Blackbird.
Right, so next time you're our neck of the woods, we're going to go to Duxford then.
Yep, that's the plan.
Yeah, excellent.
There's a Blackbird there as well.
We'll have a look one there, yeah.
Super.
Brilliant. Well, Alan, great to see you. And also, I want to say on behalf of all the team who've come out to Dublin this weekend, you've been an absolute legend. You've done an incredible amount of work behind the scenes for Nev and for all the team, and sorting out a lot of great, incredible things. I can't thank you enough for that, because honestly, Thursday night,
You had a big smile on your face.
It made my year, definitely, this year. So thanks a lot for that, Alan.
No
really
problem,
appreciate
Carlos. You're
that.
welcome anytime, and we'll be as hospitable next time as well.
And that's it. Thanks, Alan. All the best. And we'll carry on with some Guinness.
Here we go.
Yes.
You and your blooming Guinness, Carlos. Honestly, you were obsessed.
It's so. Do you know what? The bizarrely, I never used to like Guinness years and years ago.
Oh, there is something very different about drinking it in Ireland, though. It genuinely tastes differently.
That's where my views on Guinness changed, when I went to the brewery in Dublin and that. But
I see we're back to food and drink again.
Back to food
absolutely.
and drink.
Yeah. We did well. I think we did well.
We did well.
Yeah.
Do you sell? Do you have Guinness in your pub in the house there, Andy?
Yes, I have a Guinness Surger unit. Yes.
Oh. Blimey.
Do you know what? Actually, we talk about that. Sorry, I know we're not supposed to be talking about food and drink. Carlos, you saw the little beer pump that Geordie brought down. Did you have a little taste of it in the end?
No, I'm not a lager person.
Oh, but it was so good. Andy, you'd have been very impressed. It's this all-in-one unit, and you plug it in, and after an hour, it's like literally ice-cold beer pouring out. Oh, it was just wonderful. Wonderful it was.
Let's talk about it afterwards. Tell me what it is.
All right, okay, yeah, we'll do. Yeah, fair enough. Ah, dear, never mind. Anyway, I suppose we're going to talk about aviation now, shall we?
Yes, it's time for a bit of the old grey stuff. We've got some good stories this week. So, Matt, are you ready? Hit the button.
Oh, no, it's frozen again. Hang on, we'll try that.
It's frozen.
Yeah, here we go. Off we go. Yeah.
Blast up buggies 135, 50, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 108 buggies.
Andy, you've got the first one this week.
Yes, and this is from aviationweek.com, and Boeing reveals new air dominance engineering site. Boeing plans to hire 400 engineers to work on air dominance programs at a facility under construction by Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida, the company said on June the 11th. The announcement comes as Boeing's air dominance unit competes for the U.S. Air Force's next generation air dominance contract, plus building F-15EXs, T-7As, MQ-25s, and MQ-28s. Increasing both our footprint in Florida and partnership with Embry-Riddle will accelerate innovation across combat aircrafts, said Steve Nordland, Boeing Air Dominance Vice President and General Manager. Boeing will lease the university's C.C. and Hyatt Brown Center for Aerospace Technology for the facility. The building has been under construction for 2 years and is scheduled to open in October. Boeing plans to hire 200 engineers by the year's end, then a total of another 200 employees in 2025 and 2026. We expect this location to be attractive to not only Embry-Riddle graduates, but also established aerospace engineers from across Florida and around the nation, Nordland said. The engineering site will add to a recent expansion of Boeing's air dominance footprint. Boeing is also building a $1.8 billion complex on its existing fighter manufacturing site in St. Louis, which includes a facility for measuring an aircraft's radar cross-section. And a new composite facility has been opened in Mesa, Arizona. So there we go.
Looks like a nice building as well. Looks like something that the company I work for would have had something to do with many years ago. But
and it's a good news story for Boeing as well, for once.
It is, yeah. For once, it's a good news story. But 400 engineers, it just goes to prove that within the aviation industry, obviously pilots are very important, but you do need engineers as well. But you probably have to have a few degrees and qualifications to move into aviation engineering, I expect. I'll have to have a chat with our listener Andrew Hall over in Norwich, because that's what he does, engineering with on the old helicopters. Need to get him on the show. Next story is from KievPost.com. And a very gorgeous-looking aircraft this is. Sweden sending 2 Saab 340 AEWCS Sky and Surveillance planes to Ukraine Air Force. So the Ukrainian Air Force will receive 2 Saab 340 early warning system aircraft. The ASC 890 Airborne Early Warning and Control System configuration from Sweden, providing Kiev with absolutely new potential for radar reconnaissance and combat control against targets in the air and sea. The aircraft will be delivered as part of Sweden's largest military aid package to date, worth more than 13 billion Swiss krona. I think that is krona, isn't it? Yeah. The military aid package is the 16th one from Sweden since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of the Ukraine. The transferred aircraft will significantly enhance Kiev's long-term capability to strike targets, and the package includes training and technical equipment for the aircraft. Equipped with advanced radar systems, the planes can detect and track objects over a large volume of battle airspace, including fighters, bombers, attack aircraft, helicopters, cruise missiles, and naval targets. The Saab 340 AWACS is a long-range radar surveillance aircraft with fixed radar that monitors 120 degrees on each side. The ASC 890 usually flies at altitudes of 6 to 7 kilometres and detects airborne and seaborne vehicles, planes, ships and missiles at distances of 300 to 400 kilometres. The aircraft has a length of 20 metres, a wingspan of 21 metres and a flight endurance of up to 5 hours. The military publication suggests that these aircraft may not be used directly over Ukraine territory due to the threat of destruction, but they can operate in the airspace of neighbouring countries. Important one, that. By the end of this year, only 20 Ukrainian F-16 pilots are expected to graduate, half of the number needed to man a full squadron of 20 fighter aircraft. According to Swedish Defence Minister Paul Johnson, the AS-890 will have the biggest impact on Ukrainian air defence so far, complementing and reinforcing the promised donation of US-made F-16 fighters. Each aircraft is estimated to cost up to $30 million. And Sweden's Ministry of Defence stated that the transfer would impact the country's defence capabilities, which will be addressed through the acquisition of a new Global Eye Radar Reconnaissance Control aircraft. As part of the aid package, Sweden will transfer its entire fleet of Pansbandvgde, begins with P and ends with N, 302 tracked armoured personnel carriers to create new Ukrainian ground forces brigades. The package also includes RB-99 missiles, artillery ammunition, and resources for the maintenance of previously transferred equipment, notably the RB-99 or ARAM. The missiles can be used both on aircraft and ground and air-based defence systems, and the RB-99 is a licensed version of the American AIM-120B missile with a nominal launch range of 70 kilometres. Tell you what, by the end, well, hopefully this will end soon, but the Ukraine are going to have one hell of a military force with all these aircraft that are being donated. And
it's an unusual take on the story, Carlos.
Well, just saying, you know, the F-16s obviously have been donated now. These the 2 of these surveillance aircraft and that, but yeah, I mean, we all just hope this will end soon.
Yeah,
I didn't think it would go on for as long as it has, but unfortunately.
Indeed.
It has. Moving on to the last story, Matt, and you've got some news in regards to RIAT.
Indeed, absolutely. BBC.co.uk is the source for this one. RIAT 2024 is the headline. More aircraft announced for the event. More than 150 aircraft have been confirmed for this year's Royal International Air Tattoo. Organisers have announced Boeing F-15QA Abigail, which will bring high-speed manoeuvres in the skies above RAF Fairford. Other newly unveiled attractions for the weekend include the Royal Moroccan Air Force and the Norwegian Yellow Sparrow display team, taking place from the 19th to the 21st of July. Saturday tickets have sold out. Typically, the event attracts around 150,000 people and hosts more than 250 aircraft. The attendance of the Yellow Sparrows will mark the first time the display team has performed in the UK. Meanwhile, the Royal Moroccan Air Force will be making its return to RIAT for the first time since 1995, bringing a pair of F-16 Fighting Falcons on static display. This year, RIAT is highlighting the F-16 as it celebrates its 50th anniversary, 75 years of the North Atlantic Treaty Organisation, that's NATO, and the Royal Canadian Air Force's centenary. The celebrations are in addition to its operational theme of pushing the boundaries in air and space in recognition of 100 years of military aviation test and evaluation flying. Other attractions previously announced include the Red Arrows, Spanish Harrier, I do love seeing the Harrier, and the Patrouille Suisse and Canadian Hornet. RIAT tickets are currently £75 for an adult ticket for either Saturday or Sunday. Saturday sold out now by the look of it. And on Sunday, now how are we feeling about the price on that one? Just interesting.
Yeah.
Worth saying, by the way, that under 18s go free with a full paying adult. So I suppose, quite affordable if there's a larger group of you going, I guess.
I put this in here, Matt, because obviously, me and you are lucky. We don't have to worry about children, kiddlywinks.
Yes.
But obviously, we've got Nick and Andy in here. You've obviously got kids. Now, you're attending an air show, say, in the UK. We've got RIAT as obviously one of the biggest air shows here in the UK. It's a very, very packed air show as well, over 2 days. The closest one to us here, size-wise, in regards to lots of stuff going on, will be Old Buckingham Air Show, and then obviously we've got the Duxford Air Show, which we're attending this year as well over in Cambridge. Now, what do you think your view on the ticket prices for RIAT this year being £75 for an adult, Andy?
It's a lot of money for one day. I mean, I have been there before. I've been very fortunate to be a guest there. I've watched the air show from the air traffic control tower as well, which was something else.
Nice.
But £75 is a hefty chunk.
I think it does include a park and ride, doesn't it?
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean, how much is it at Duxford for the car? A fiver?
Yeah, I don't know if you actually have to pay extra for the parking as well at RIAT. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think. But the trouble is, it sells out every year, doesn't it? They could probably stick it up to £100 and they'd still sell out. So it's
an incredible show. I mean, let's not take that away from them. It is. I think there's a reason why it's so popular and there's 150,000 people going to it every single year, is because it is without doubt, I think, probably one of the best military air shows, in our country, certainly.
I reckon I might do what my dad used to do with me and my brother when we were little, and we'd go and sit in a field next door for free.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
I think that's a popular ploy used by Mr. Jonathan Warner.
Is Mr. Warner in the chat room actually? Because he often pays for the special paddock. Yeah, doesn't he? Where you get this. I mean, and some of the photos that I'm sure we will see this year as well that he takes are out of this world. I mean,
it's RIAT, I think it's called, the thing that Jonathan pays for. He pays for it each year. I know he's got it again this year because he said to me in a message earlier on in the year, but. Which I think he said had gone up quite a fair amount actually this year. I know he said that the price had gone up for this year, but he still pays it anyway because he loves the stuff. But no, it's a lot of money, I think. Bear in mind, when you get there as a family, you've obviously you buy your food.
What would you pay for something like a Premiership
small
football?
Holiday? Sorry, I know.
So something like a Premier League football match or the Formula One, for example. I mean, I know last year I went to watch the MotoGP at Silverstone, and I think tickets for that were, for a general admission, were probably around similar kind of price to this. And then you were paying more for children.
F1 is silly money.
Yeah.
I think it's for a basic entry one, it's like 130, 140 quid.
Yeah, I think it's about that, yeah.
I quite often go to watch the touring cars. That's a full day, and that's normally around £25, £30 for the day.
Right.
But
But they're
we're losing.
probably only pulling in sort of 30, 40,000 people at best, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
So
we're losing a lot of the free air shows. There used to be a huge free air show up here, the Sunderland International Air Show. That used to be massive over 3 days at the end of July, and that was canned because it costs so much money to put on. So I can see it from that point of view as well.
Yeah.
But with a lot of people turning up, and there's a lot of businesses involved as well who could subsidise some of these air shows as well to make them more affordable for people.
Yeah, it works out for our US listeners, because we do have a lot of US listeners. It works out conversion-wise to around about $95 to get into RIAT. But Duxford this year, we're obviously off to Duxford this year. That is £49.50 for an adult ticket, but 5 to 15s go free.
I'm guessing, looking at Alan White's comment there, that if it's a washout, you don't get your money back either.
This is the thing, isn't it? Yeah. And I think every time we've been, it's been usually pretty rainy on the day, hasn't it?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we've as a show we've been to RIAT probably, I think, three or four times. I think we've been, and I think out of those 3 or 4 times, we had one year that was a bit rough with the old weather, but we did have some quite hot times there.
Mind you, it was quite nice because we were on media passes when it chucked it down with rain. We just went straight to the bar in the tent. That was, it was very civilised.
Yeah, but no, it is obviously the way things are now. The insurances are high, and obviously the price of getting these air shows put on is a lot as well. But especially for me and Matt, I don't know about obviously for Nick as well, because you are a lot further down the sort of southwest of the country as such. But for me and Matt, it's a good 4.5 hour drive to RIAT from here. For you, Nick, it's probably
I could do it in about
6 weeks.
No, it's actually probably just under 2 hours. About 2 hours, actually.
Yeah.
RIAT's a very, very long drive for me.
Yeah. But it is a great show, though. I mean, we're sort of poo-pooing it and stuff, and I think the reason why they can command these kind of figures is because it is an unbelievably incredible show. That is the reality, and if you want a right at the back of the O2 ticket to go and see someone like Taylor Swift, you're not going to get any change from 70, 80, 90 pounds, are you? So it's an all-day event rather than just like an evening event. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I just think it's a bit of a shame. I mean, we were very lucky here, Carlos, weren't we? Because I still to this day think one of the best air shows that I went to, certainly when I was a kid, was completely free, and it was the Lowestoft Air Show. Yeah. Because they did some amazing flying displays over the sea, very safe, and on the one occasion that we did have an incident there where the Harrier famously dropped into the sea and stuff, of course, because there was no danger to the actual people, if you see what I mean, because they were all flying along the coast and they were all forming up over the coast and everything as well. It was just a brilliant air show because it was completely free. I mean, and maybe it's one of those, isn't it? Because they used to wander around with donation buckets asking people to sort of chip in, of course, and people weren't, because
that's exactly what Sunderland was, Matt. It was along the coast at Sunderland, free air show. We got the Vulcan, Red Arrows, all of that stuff back in the day.
We actually had the Torbay Air Show down here a couple of weeks ago. So we had the Red Arrows and the Typhoons, and I had booked myself to do something else that weekend and missed it all.
What?
Yeah, never mind. Next year. Yeah. Although I think we do have the Teignmouth Air Show coming up shortly as well, so I need to figure out when that one is.
There's a good comment in the chat room, by the way.
Alan says, I got tickets to see the B-52s for €20. It was the wrong B-52s.
You couldn't pay me to see them.
My question is, what are the wrong B-52s?
Yeah.
Were you upset that you paid €20 to see the band?
Yeah.
Or were you glad that you saw some very old aeroplanes? I can't work it out.
I'll opt for the latter, thanks.
Excuse me, I love Love Shack, I'll have you know. It's an absolute classic. Carlos and I will have played that at many a party and got a dance floor full as a result.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Love Shack. Yes, there we go.
Yes, Love Shack. Anyway, right, we're going to start to wrap things up. But we've got some good stuff to tell you about now while we start to wrap things up. It is, of course, the time where we're going to start heading off to various air shows, and we've got two very special meetups lined up for this year. We can tell you about. For those who follow us on social media, there's also details on there as well. But we are off back to Duxford this year for the Battle of Britain Air Display. This is on Saturday, the 14th of September. We're going to be there on the Saturday. There's going to be entertainment from 8 a.m. till 6. Flying is starting at 1 p.m. approximately. And you have to buy your tickets in advance, especially to know that one. The tickets are £49.50, as I said earlier, and children under 15 go free. Now, we're going to have a meet-up there like we did last year. We had a really, really good time there last year at the air show. So if you can make it, please do. We'd love to see you there. So that's Saturday, the 14th of September at the Battle of Britain Air Display. We're going to be there, and hopefully get to see some of you listeners there as well. It'll be really nice to meet you there if you can make it. Now, next is also our fly-in. Now, we had one of these a few years back at Seething. We're going to have our summertime PTUK flying meetup. This is going to be happening at Beccles Airfield, Echo Golf Sierra Mike, for those of you who want to plummet into your Sky Demon. This is going to be August the 3rd. It's that Saturday, August the 3rd. Meeting up at the airfield from around 10 a.m. We're going to have some dinner there and a bite to eat and watch the aircraft flying in and out, because there'll be loads of flying in aircraft in there. And also there'll be the parachute plane probably doing its thing there as well. There's a restaurant on site, so we'll be able to sit down and all have lunch together, plenty of food, beers as well. For those wishing to stay, there is some really, really nice, and I can't stress this enough, some really nice accommodation on the airfield, but you'll need to book that in advance because they do get booked up front. In fact, I know that one's already been booked. So I think there's 3 or 4 more left there, rooms. For those who want to fly in, because I know there are some of the listeners who did fly into our last meet up there, you'll need to register a PPR booking before you fly in. Details can be found on their website as well. That's Virage website. I'll give you the details in a moment. For all the details on the PPR's accommodation and all the important menu options as well, if you check out all the www.becclesaerodrome.co.uk. We'll pop these details in the show notes as well. You can find out more as well on our social medias. It'll be on there. If you want to email Beccles, you can email. It's easy on this one. It's ops at becclesaerodrome.co.uk, or you can give them a call 01502 476 As I said, all the details will be on our Facebook page if you missed those. So that's the 3rd of August, Saturday, at Beccles Airfield, Echo Golf Sierra Mike. Hopefully we can get as many of you lovely listeners there as we can and have a really, really nice day together. Andy, I know you're busy, but it would be lovely if we could get you to come down. I know you're...
Yeah, unfortunately, I am extremely busy until the end of September at the moment, weekends and everything. Yeah, I think for the Battle of Britain one, I am in Geneva for work. There's worse places to be, I suppose. And 3rd of August, yeah, I think I'm on holiday then as well. So apologies, but next year definitely.
Yeah, Richard E. Flagg makes a good point in the chat room there, actually. I'll pop that up on the socials. There we go. Yeah, very nice food there.
It is a great cafe,
yeah, a very nice cafe, yeah. So it'd be great to see you there, if you can make it, for our flying meet-up. And I remember do you remember the last one we had at Seething, Matt, where Pip done his
15-point landing, yeah.
15-point landing, yeah.
Indeed.
Oh dear, Nick's laughing. Hopefully, Nick, you said you might try and make it up to Duxford, possibly for the show,
although I have got a slight quandary because my son has asked me if I will take him to go and watch Manchester United play.
I know what option I would choose.
So you don't like football, yeah.
I don't like football either, but I know it would be, yeah.
I reckon you need to. You need to go and do some more work with your friends so you can have a flight down here. That's what you need.
I know. Yes. I'm just looking at that. I've just plumbed Beccles into Google Maps, and it's saying 5 hours 49 to drive it, and it's 339 miles. But yeah, looking at the Cirrus I was in today, we were cruising around 150 knots in that. So I reckon we'd get over to Beccles in probably under 2 hours.
I think you should, try it.
I'll see if I can borrow it. It was an interesting conversation about buying a share in an aircraft, and that got the old grey matter.
It's a slippery slope.
It wasn't as expensive as I thought. So
it's amazing what desperation will do. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, social media links. Andy, just for a change, do you want to give out the social media links? Where can people find out more about us and the show?
Yes, no problem. You can find us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram, simply by searching for Plain Talking UK. You can email us at podcast@plaintalkinguk.com, or you can find us on the website, plaintalkinguk.com as well. And of course, you can find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for Plain Talking UK. You can also find us on LinkedIn now as well.
Indeed. And also, before you do that, give it one last plug, because I know it's still running.
Oh, yes. And if you'd like to donate to mine and my wife's stupidity, I have now completed the 100 kilometres. I'm still alive, although my blisters have blisters on them.
Lovely.
It would be very much appreciated. And that is at all the W's, justgiving.com/fundraising/team 40. That's 40K. Before 40, and that's 40 again. And thank you all very much for those of you who have donated. It is very, very much appreciated.
Yes. I put the donation in. I think a lot of us have put a few quid in. So I can't actually, just looking on there, Andy, the total, you're up to 33,552.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of fundraisers coming up in the next couple of weekends. And then we are, to finish it all off in October, hosting our own 40K walk between Sunderland and Durham, and some companies have kindly donated vehicles for logistics and artwork and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. And we're just asking people to raise £40 each, do any length of the distance that you want, and hopefully that'll finish it all off and get it all done and dusted.
There we go.
Love that.
Well, good. You'll be at 40,000 by
the
end of summer.
Love that.
Fingers crossed.
Especially with the naked calendar.
Yes.
Anyway,
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a real treat.
Moving on.
If we do a naked calendar, we'll have to start dishing money out of the pot to compensate people.
Yes, good point. Yes, that is a very
Pay
good
people
point.
to buy new eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's not do that.
Yes.
Right. So that's where we are going to wrap up episode 507 of the show. Quick round robin. What are you doing next week, Nick?
Yes.
Well done. Thank you. And Andy, what are you doing next week?
Enjoying the sunshine for my birthday / working.
Woo! Birthday boy.
Oh,
yes.
I'll do it now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thanks, Matt.
That was the Poundland version of that one. Matt.
How dare! I'm not talking.
Matt.
No, I'm not talking to you anymore after that. That's outrageous. Do one.
Oh God, what are you up to? What are you up to next week, Matt?
So yeah, a little bit scared. MRI on Sunday, so we'll see.
Oh, you'll love it. I love mine.
Well,
Such good fun.
Yeah.
Such good fun.
So we'll see what that brings and take it from there, basically. So so light duties for a little while we work out what's going on.
Yes. So I'm going to be obviously back to work next week, and this weekend I'm dusting off my headphones.
You are,
yes,
absolutely. I shall see you there. I'm very excited. Yeah.
For one night only.
Yeah.
Should be back.
Yeah, he's loving it because he's going to turn up and it's already going to be set up. He's just literally got to turn up and be a diva, basically, press some buttons and then mob off home again. He'll be literally living the diva.
It's going to be slightly strange turning up and there's my old gear.
That's all right. I shall put some other gear in it just to sort of confuse you a bit.
Thanks for that. Right, that's it then for the show. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in tonight. You are all legends as always. Thanks to all the P2UK family for tuning in on YouTube. And also thanks to all the audio listeners who download the show each week. Thank you very much indeed. And don't forget, if you get a minute, don't forget to leave us a little comment on the old downloadable sites, iTunes and that. You can leave comments and feedback and stuff. And send us your feedback as well, because we'd love to hear from you on the show. Going to say a big thanks to Nick for his fantastic production qualities this evening with the show notes. Thank you for that, Nick, as always.
You're very welcome.
Great intro.
No
30 seconds.
And thanks to Andy for joining us as always. Thanks, Andy. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to the whole entire world. We'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week and weekend. Say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye, Andy.
Whilst I'm having a go at Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I'm sorry, I won't do it again, all right?
On the contrary,
Right.
I could say on the contrary, Andy, I think you should, and also every single solitary week.
No excuse. You've got no excuse, Andy. You've got your blinking camera with you. You know.
I don't go flying, though.
Yeah, I know. We've got to update the credits. That's what we're talking about, by the way, guys. That's what's going on there. The complication I have is the software that I use to make the toilets. The titles originally, we no longer have a license for because it was only an annual subscription thing. So I might have to talk very nicely to Carlos to see if we can have a new updated
that's fine.
license for it, because it was the Power Director thing that we used to use, which is what I used to make the titles with. But so we need to update it and all that kind of thing. So see what we can do.
Oh, it was in the chat room when we started tonight. For those who said this is the Nimrod, which is at the City of Norwich Aviation Museum.
I went past that,
and you can go on board this aircraft and walk around it and touch things, and it's really good if you get a chance to go there. Really
Can I be slightly controversial here?
Go on then.
Sturman put a little link in at the beginning of the thing about the little video, the little reel he's put on his socials.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you spell? Is it STU? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway,
STURMAN.
That's the one. Yeah, but there's a 4 in it, isn't there? On his.
There is.
So, yeah. So anyway, it was. I had a little look at the video. It was blooming incredible. He's a very talented man, you know.
He is.
Yeah,
he is,
absolutely.
yes.
Playing one of my favourite Benson Boone. Was it Benson Boone? I think so. Or was it? No, it wasn't Benson Boone, was it? It was the other one.
Yeah, he's a very talented young lad.
Indeed.
He is.
Oh, by the way, this is horrendous. By the way, but very quickly.
Happy birthday, dear.
Here's my mum.
Happy birthday to you.
That's lovely.
Yeah, bless her.
Excellent.
Yeah. 21 plus VAT, and then some. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we really spoilt her with a fake tiara and
Nothing but the best.
Well, quite absolutely.
As long as she had a good time. That's all that matters.
honestly, it was a great weekend. It really was. Yeah, I mean, I'm utterly exhausted. I've done my fair share of catering, but this was new level. Like, so.
I still want to try some of those burgers, Matt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, Carlos, you sampled them. They were all right, weren't they?
Yeah,
we're going to need to try some of those at the.
Well, if you can get yourself to the fly-in, I'll make sure that we have some.
Yeah, if we could just try and move East Anglia a bit closer to Devon.
Right.
I don't know who we have to write to get that done.
I think we should just move East Anglia. Just move it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying where. I'm just saying move it.
Middle of the North Sea.
I mean, technically, we are already in the middle of the North Sea.
Kind of.
Sticking out.
Yeah.
Well, it's back that way.
I'd quite like it if we put it into the Atlantic. That would be lovely.
You probably live nearer to Amsterdam than I think
certainly nearer to Calais, without question.
Nearer to Amsterdam than you do to me. Even though you're in the same country.
They probably do, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. Oh dear, never mind.
It's not really your fault. But just saying, I wish it wasn't such a long way.
So what was the name of that machine? Your beer machine?
Oh, I forgot to ask. Sorry, I won't get the answer quick enough.
Oh my goodness, you've had 2 hours.
I know. Yeah, I've been literally twiddling.
It's the only reason he was here.
Hang on, let me.
What beer was in it then?
Well, you can put any beer in it, so you could get various. So Bex did a keg for it. Stella did a keg for it.
It's the same machine I've got then.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
Is it one? Is it black?
Yes, and with a silver. Silver collar down the middle.
It's a perfect draft.
It's the perfect draft machine.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of them.
Kegs.
Have you? Of course you have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what supplies the lager in here.
And I'll tell you what, it's bloody brilliant. It really is.
The company who makes them has got them on offer at the minute, you know.
I know. I just
180 quid.
Yeah.
But it's Philips that make them.
Yeah.
But perfect. If you go on their website, I think it's 180 quid with a keg and some glasses or something.
That is,
like
180. Yeah, they've got on offer at the minute, and they're doing free delivery as well.
They're worth it. It's good.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to their reviews, Chris Moyles says the best birthday gift I've ever had.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a birthday gift. It was one that was sent to the studio, and he took it home for his birthday. As that's not quite. But yeah.
The only problem with them is it's too easy to drink 10 pints.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And that, but you see, that's why it appeals to me, because 10 pints. You know, I could easily do 10 pints over the week, if you see what I mean. Like, so it isn't going to go off before I've used it, as well. Like something, you know, I mean, I've still got in my shed. I've still got an actual 88 pint draft pump and all that kind of thing. You know, with I've even got the cooler somewhere. But like, you know, that's the issue.
Bring that up. We'll set that up.
Okay, right. but even you wouldn't get through it before it went off, Andy. That's the trouble. That is the trouble. But there was something that pump, and it poured a perfect pint as well. Oh, I don't know how you. You've got a better deal than me. My one, if you get it from Philips, it's £204.
Oh no, it goes straight to perfect draft.
Yeah, it goes straight to perfect draft. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
You should get a keg with it as well. But yeah, they do all sorts. What have I got in the garage at the minute? I've got a keg of Hawkston Lager. I've got that.
Oh yes, that's nice. Me and my friend Tom had it in, because they did it in bottles in a restaurant that we were drinking in Norwich.
You think the bottle's nice? The keg, the proper draft stuff, is unbelievably nice. And they do Stella, Jupiler as well. I think that's Belgian lager. That's very nice. But then you can get all the Leffes as well, and they're mega strength. You got to be careful with them.
Do like a bit of Leff.
Yeah,
but it's the proper draft stuff as well. Oh, it's fabulous. I should work for them really as a salesman.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I'm now getting a yearning to go back to Bruges for a bit of a beery weekend.
Yeah, highly recommended though. As I say, it wasn't mine sadly, but my best friend Geordie brought it up, and it was wonderful. It really was.
But there's stuff like, have you ever tried triple Carmelite before?
No.
That's a beer. It's 9%, and they do 10-pint kegs of that. You've got to be really, really careful with that, because that's proper. Your legs get drunk before the rest of your juice.
Yeah, German beer's a bit like that. I tend to find. And it's
Yeah,
what makes it worse is that if you're in Germany, they serve you at the table.
Yeah.
And then you get up to go for a wee and find your legs don't work anymore.
The German stuff you can get on there. Lovenbrau, beautiful beer. Spartan as well, beautiful beer. Oh, there's just so many options. Anyway, I can't believe I've just been talking about beer for that long.
Yes,
apologies.
Indeed. Yeah.
Welcome to the Beer Talking UK podcast. It's side shoot.
I'm very excited they do the Hawkston lager because that is genuinely my favourite. I'm going to have to. Clarkson has officially ruined me.
I get mine from the ice cream shop in town.
What?
They sell it in there. Yeah.
And you get a £5 back when you send your keg back as well.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they reuse the kegs. But at my local shop here, he's currently selling 4 kegs for £100. So that's like
that's good value.
42 pints for £100.
So they're doing them £60 for 2 here on the website.
Yeah,
that's very good value.
It is good value, and then you get your £5 back, and it'll take however many kegs back as well. I think I've got 6 in the garage or something like that.
Nice.
So yeah, you can get quite good.
Which obviously you then put towards the next keg, obviously, because that's how it works.
Obviously.
Ooh.
All right then, Dirk. How about Spartan? Is that all right?
Love it.
To be fair, I do like Bavaria. Soz.
Yeah. Indeed. Right. Okay.
Right, we better let these lovely YouTube family members get back to their Wednesday evening. So,
indeed.
Thanks everyone again for joining us this evening. It's been lovely to have you all in the YouTube chat room. Andy, do you want to say the last words for the listeners?
Yes. Thanks for joining. It's been great fun being back tonight as well for the first time in a while. And we will see you all next week. Good night.